Second Chance, the story of Don and Mike. The sun was slowly setting over the reddish hills of Oklahoma. The air was thick with the smell of dust and gasoline. A heavy black chrome Ford F-350 pickup truck was moving along the endless I-40 highway. Donald Trump was driving, without security, without a driver, without the usual motorcade. It's just him and the road. He had long wanted to be alone. After the tumultuous years of politics, the courts, the television cameras, and the eternal headlines, he felt tired. America, which he loved so much, seemed far away. He could see her from the offices and planes, but he couldn't feel her. He couldn't hear her breathing. He couldn't see her real face. He remembered how his father used to take him to construction sites in Queens where it smelled of sweat, iron, and coffee from a thermos. It was then that he realized for the first time that the strength of the country lies not in skyscrapers, but in the people who build them. And now, decades later, he was driving through this country again. Without a goal, without a schedule. I was just driving. On the side of the road ahead, he noticed a truck with an emergency light on. The evening sun glinted on the metal side. A man in his mid-40s was standing next to the car, wearing a faded shirt, with his hands black with oil. He tried to remove the flat tire, but the jack got stuck. Trump stopped and got out of the car. The warm wind ruffled his hair. "Hey, buddy, do you need help?" "Stop it!" he shouted, coming up. The man raised his head, squinting against the headlights. "Yes, to be honest, I wouldn't mind. The spare tire blew, and the nearest tire shop is 20 miles away. The phone is dead. The day is just, well, that day." Trump laughed. "I know such days." He helped put up the jack, and then offered, "Listen, leave it until morning. I have a place in the car. I'll drop you off at the nearest town, and we'll figure it out there." "Thanks, but I don't want to bother." "Don't be silly. America relies on people like you. Go." On the way, the conversation went on by itself. The man's name was Mike Henderson. He served in the Marines and served 2 tours of duty in Iraq. After returning home, I bought an old Freightliner and became a trucker. Things were going well at first, but then there were illnesses, loans, and a breakup with his wife. Now he was hauling goods across the Midwest, barely making ends meet. "You know," he said, looking out the window into the darkness, "we ordinary guys still believe that America should take care of its own. But sometimes it seems like no one cares about us." Trump listened in silence. Dozens of thoughts were spinning in his head, but he didn't interrupt. Then he said softly, "You're not alone, Mike. It's just that sometimes a country forgets who its real heroes are. But it can be fixed." They stopped at a small roadside motel. Trump paid for the room, left a business card for Mike, without titles and seals, just Don T. and a phone number. "Call me when you fix it. I have an idea." Mike smiled in surprise. "Do you want to start a business with me?" "Maybe. But not the one that makes a profit." Trump, a second chance. A year later. Exactly 1 year has passed since the day when Donald Trump and trucker Mike Henderson met on an abandoned highway somewhere in Oklahoma. A lot has changed. America seemed to remember that its strength lies in people. The Second Chance America Foundation has grown from a single idea into a national movement. Support centers for veterans, workshops for workers, training programs, and free medical clinics were opened all over the country. People called, wrote, and came from different states, not for handouts, but for the opportunity to start over. Opening of the Tulsa Center. It was hot that day in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The air trembled over the asphalt, and the flags on the flagpoles hardly moved. A new building, the Second Chance Veterans Hub, stood on the outskirts of the city. Gray walls, a glass facade, wide gates for trucks, workshops where compressors were already humming, and there was a smell of paint. Mike was standing at the entrance in a light blue work shirt with a director patch. He adjusted his baseball cap, looked at his watch, and sighed. Damn, he's really on his way. A familiar convoy appeared around the corner, a black Cadillac Escalade and several escort vehicles. When the doors opened, the crowd burst into applause. Donald Trump came out smiling. He looked calmer than a year ago, as if this project had given him a new lease of life. Mike, come on, he called. Don, he replied, coming towards me. They shook hands firmly. You did a great job, kid. When I said that you would change people's lives, I wasn't joking. Well, Mike grinned. I had a damn good boss. The crowd laughed. The cameras clicked, but there was no politics at this moment. Just two people connected by the same road. Trump's speech. When everyone gathered at the stage, Trump went to the microphone. The wind finally picked up, and the flags fluttered behind him. You know, he began, exactly a year ago, I stopped on the highway, where I met a stubborn guy with a wrecked truck. He told me then that he felt forgotten, that the country no longer remembers people like him. I'm standing here today, and I see that he was wrong. The crowd applauded. Mike didn't just get up. He helped thousands of others to rise. This is America, a country where no one has to stay down, where chance is not a privilege, but a right. He paused, then added, I believe that if everyone who can help at least one person, we will build not a policy, but a future. Real human. After the ceremony. Later, the two of them sat on the steps of the center, watching the sun set behind the city. Children were making noise nearby, the children of those who had passed through the foundation. Someone was frying hot dogs, someone was laughing. There was a sense of peace. You know, Don, Mike said, I used to think that the world was divided into those at the top and those at the bottom. And now I understand. The world is divided into those who do not give up and those who help others not to give up. Trump smiled. That's right. That's why we're here. He took out a folder from his inside pocket. I want you to head all the branches of the foundation in the Midwest. It's not just a job, it's a mission. Mike froze. Don, I do not know if I can. You can. Because you've already done the impossible. They sat in silence for a long time. Lights twinkled above the highway, trucks drove by, and every trucker honked in greeting. Mike was smiling. Now he knew that his life had meaning. In a few months, the news across the country showed footage of news centers opening in Texas, Arizona, and Iowa.